welcome to this episode of Sorare TV Community Choice. This week's topic comes to us from frequent contributor to the channel, Ron Royale Sorare. Best budget or challenger champion Euro prospects for next season. All that kind of content is going to be coming out on the main 23001 channel over the next month or so. So stay tuned if you're into that kind of stuff. We'd also love to hear whether you think we're officially coming out of a dip, or if there will be another one between now and August. Now, these types of questions are always tricky to deal with because there's so much going on in terms of the things that are football related, the things that are market Sorare related, as well as things that are, just related to the crypto sphere and that kind of thing as well. And because all these conflicting forces move in strange and mysterious ways, and there's no real rhyme or rhythm to it, there's no real correlation, or there is correlation in some of them, but it's never an exact paradigm that you can draw out and extrapolate it. But it feels like with Champion and Challenger Euro, probably a wee bit more Champion, it's something that we've been kind of waiting for, any significant dips to come over the last kind of couple of months. There's been little dips here and there, and all these things really do centre around your experience and your exposure to a couple of different players that you've bought and sold, because that is our own internal perception of the overall market, is our interactions within it. Do we find it easy to sell something at a big price? Do we find it difficult to buy something at a cheap price? And quite often these market dips and that kind of thing, they often really revolve around where the pendulum is swinging on a lot of individual cards. Sometimes it might be like a league or a club, maybe calendar related with football, of course, being off season, that kind of thing. Has the pendulum swung right towards Sorare, or just got the league on board? Auctions are full tap turned on, and that's where anyone who's looking for that type of card or that prospective profile of player, that's where they're shopping, is in the secondary, in the primary market. And subsequently then the secondary market becomes much more competitive on being lean and mean on pricing to satisfy. If you are looking to sell, you will need to be in line with those current up-to-date auctions. And if the pendulum swings back the other way, there's not that many auctions going on at all, and it feels like with a lot of regions now, a lot of auctions for rares and super rares are really suppressed, and the tap is really turned off on them at the moment. And like I've mentioned in other content, it feels like one of the main delivery mechanisms for some of these cards is the rewards at the moment, which throws the pendulum towards the secondary market controlling the values and the valuations of a lot of these players, or having a much stronger say in it. And when the secondary market is in more control of the valuations, the perceived dip, if you like, tends to go away, because then it's man-made, it's installed by whoever owns the cards that are getting sold, and then the people who are prospectively buying them. And it's quite often when the pendulum has given in towards the secondary market is when we think, things are kind of ramping up again, or this, that kind of idea. And generally speaking, we tend to think it's in a dip when we find the secondary market really difficult to struggle in. But equally, there's the opposite end of the coin, where auctions are like ferocious, they're happening all the time, and the prices are really running away and jumping away. That can be driven by the external forces of course, increased user base, or different players changing strategies, now a real horde to get into that strategy or into that profile of player. And that can really detract from the individual maybe situation of, that guy only has 5 cards now. Well, it doesn't matter because there's 50 extra people after him now, so the price is always going to be jacked. Or that guy has 200 cards already. Again, equally, if there's 50 or 60 people chomping at the bit to get one who don't currently have one, then that's when the auctions might actually show it to be like the prices are running away with things and the secondary market can't keep up with it. But that's not necessarily down to the market being better or worse or whatever. That's down to just there being more like people participating in the market. But for Champion and Challenger cards, between now, at point of recording this is the 30th of May 2020, between now and August, I definitely think I think once we get into like mid-June and we start to ramp up towards August, I think any notion of like getting somebody out a season discount is kind of off the cards at that point, because we're then staring down the barrel of the gun of like European qualifiers and the seasons unrolling and that kind of thing, as well as any new prospective developments that might come out on platform with new leagues, with new iterations of the game, the dynamic reward structure, the scoring matrix, anything like that at all. So I would say overall as a market, I don't think I would expect another like seismic like change in pricing unless it was another external factor that was to play into that, in terms of like, user base or currency, any of these other things that can have a unnatural effect, I feel like, on the immediate term of market pricing and market strategy. I think when the European cards come back on, we've seen this recently, and again, I spoke about this with Chani when he was on the channel. I don't think this made it into the final. I don't think we actually recorded it, to be honest with you, and it was something that me and Chani had an exchange with, in fact, on one of the Sorare data streams. We were talking about how like guys like Roxy and these big whale accounts, when ETH has been crashing, how they've just been throwing their ETH into like high profile limiteds, multiples of rares, different super rares that are all like high profile. And you know, my kind of take on that type of thing is a lot of these bigger crypto whales, if you like, they have sizable caches of the stuff, see Sorare cards as being a much more stable holding place for their value than just the raw Ethereum and that sort of stuff as well. So these factors can all play into it, because then once you have any sort of whale dominance come into a singular market, like Antoine Griezmann or Wirtz or Mbappe or Haaland or whoever these guys decide to pick up, then it can seem like, oh, there's a boom going on. And well, maybe not. Maybe if you have an Antoine Griezmann or a Haaland or something, maybe, yeah, but not if you have Joe Bloggs at Real Sociedad. So again, it's one of these things that's really hard to kind of quantify, but I think the high profile cards, like the dip for them is kind of gone. And I think at any stage, if you do have the opportunity to get high profile cards that you can perceive to be undervalued, then I would be looking to take that opportunity up in the next couple of weeks or so. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Please do leave your comments down below. Any suggestions for the next community choice topic that will be on the channel on Monday. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Hope you've had fun. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.